escort to keep me in line. And then a couple years for the selection as well.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much to Jonathan Beringere for being our piper and pipe us all in. And to thank you also to our fiddler, Jacqueline Doyle, and our honor guard as well. And my name is Brendan Moher. I am the chair of 9 Ships 1825. I hope you can all hear me. We're going to get going here in a second. Just a few housekeeping matters. Washrooms are just on the inside of the door. Our host there, the deputy commander here, Al Found, has a few things to tell us. If you could, Al, thank you so much.
Morning, thanks for asking me, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Al Found, deputy commanding officer Readiness. Just housekeeping points. So beyond the chairs here towards the back of the arm, this logo down there, that's operational for your arms. Just for guests and stuff. Make it very fun. Like you mentioned, washrooms up front. If there is a fire drill, fire alarm goes off during this presentation, fire exit here, or one just down the hallway to the right. Those are the only two accessible right now. F, there is A! Fire alarm during the presentation. Fire exit. Before you get out of the parking lot, leave parking side, find your loved ones and family members. The other fire exit, the set of stairs over here, to the right, and take the other side from Murray Street. So the only two fire exits available right now because the event's being put outside. Thanks so much for today.
Thank you so much, Major. Now, to get things going, I'm going to call upon Niamh Dunn to lead us in the singing of our national anthem, O Canada, and we'll be singing the Irish national anthem at the flagpole a little bit later. So Niamh, if you could, please. Everybody stand. Remove your hats, please. Everybody could have a seat. Thank you all for coming. We've been waiting for this day for 200 years, actually. But let us begin with our land acknowledgement. And we respectfully acknowledge that we work and reside on the traditional territory of the Mississauga Anishinaabe. We offer our gratitude to our First Nations friends for their care for and teaching about our earth and our relations, and may we always honor those teachings. I now call upon our 9 Ships Vice Chair, Mary Smith, who has something special to bring to your attention regarding this wonderful region here in Central Ontario. Mary?
Thank you, Brendan, and wonderful to see everyone today. When you came in today, you were given a bookmark, and if you didn't get one, there are some extras left. And I just want to speak a bit about what this bookmark tells you. On it is the visitor pledge, and it's called the Ode to Peterborough Pledge. And Ode to Peterborough is the Ojibwe word for respect. This pledge was created through meaningful and extensive consultation with Curve Lake and Hiawatha First Nations, drawing on the teachings of the Mississauga and Anishinaabe. This pledge represents the universal value of respect and a commitment to protect and preserve the heritage and culture of this place, as well as the spirit of its people. Whether you call Peterborough and the Kawarthas home, or are visiting for a day, a week, or to honor your ancestors, taking the Ode to Peterborough pledge expresses an understanding of what makes Peterborough and the Kawarthas extraordinary and a perseverance to help keep it that way for generations to come. As we commemorate the history of the Peter Robinson Irish emigration, it is essential to also look to the future and honor that. There is a QR code on the back, and on this bookmark you'll see that, and it will take you to a website where you can watch a video explaining more about this pledge, and it will provide you with the opportunity to register your support for it. So we invite you to learn more. Thank you very much, and miigwech, thank you for considering taking the Ode to Peterborough pledge.
Thank you, Mary. Thank you, Mary. Now, there are a number of people who have journeyed to be with us here today, and I'm just curious, before we go further, who is from outside this region that has traveled here today to be with us? Oh boy, okay, so from Ireland and the United States and Canada, thank you so much. That's a warm welcome to all of you. It seems that any story involving the Irish always involves journey and adventure. It is estimated that as many as 80 million souls claim Irish ancestry and heritage around the world, while Ireland itself is home to just 7 million. Amazing examples of the irrepressible Irish spirit of courage and adventure spreading throughout the world for hundreds of years. And it has been a journey, a voyage as well for 9 ships, 1825. Born out of the Peterborough Canadian Irish Club back almost 10 years ago with Shelley Ryan as its president and her late husband Jerry Ryan, with planning beginning in earnest early in 2023. Spearheaded through the tireless efforts of my fellow 9 ships 1825 board members. And let me just introduce them to you if I could. Mary Smith, our vice chair you just heard from, former mayor of Selwyn and former deputy warden of Peterborough County, Mary. Maureen Crowley of the Peterborough Canadian Irish Club, Maureen. Elwood Jones, Trent professor and now historian at Trent Valley Archives. And Dennis Carter Edwards, historian and past president of the Peterborough Historical Society. Dennis, thank you. It is you who have steered the ships to coordinate, promote, and encourage our many local grassroots Irish Canadian community partners and our talented contractors and volunteers to join together to honor our ancestors and the wonderful, magical Irish heritage they gifted to us. And this will continue unabated for the weeks to come. We thank them all for their efforts to mark this historical bicentennial occasion and the efforts of all the countless unsung volunteers and heroes throughout Peterborough City, County, and the City of Kawartha Lakes. They have dedicated their time and worked tirelessly to make this Peter Robinson bicentennial project a success. No doubt our ancestors are here with us today, looking on quietly, smiling, and proud of you. So give yourselves a hand. I also want to thank our many donors who have generously answered our call for support over the past year and made our 9 ships efforts possible. Please forgive me, but there are too many to name today. We have listed everyone in our souvenir book and in our program of events. For now, I would like to mention our lead donors, former Honorary Colonel Gary Reamy of the Lawrence Scots. Gary, are you here? There you are. From Peel, Dufferin and Halton Regiment, and Joanne Reamy, his wonderful wife. Joanne. Pascal and Sylvia McCloskey, who couldn't make it here today and give their regrets, and the Department of Canadian Heritage. We thank you all for all you have done. Our 9 ships 1825 voyage is also aimed at rejoining with those who still call home the Ballyhoura Mountains and Blackwater Valley region of Ireland in County Cork and County Limerick, where our mutual ancestors left from 200 years ago. You will shortly meet some of them who have made the journey to be with us here today. You remain our dear cousins. Where are you, Amanda? You remain our dear cousins. And I can tell you, just from the coming back from Ireland, from ceremonies held there in early May, that time has not stood between us, even after the passing of 200 years. The bonds are deep and heartfelt to this day. Thank you for being with us. The Peter Robinson Irish immigration of 1825 brought an estimated 2,024 Irish to this region of central Ontario, with over 700 children along in their number. This is a very special moment in the history of the Irish diaspora here in central Ontario, as we begin 10 days of activities to mark the occasion of the Bicentennial. For the courage and determination of our ancestors, we are thankful, we are inspired, and we are certainly humbled by their efforts of 200 years ago. At that, I would like to begin our list of speakers, and we will start, if I can call on our Vice Consul General of Ireland from Toronto, Cahal Sweeney. Cahal.
Diajiv, Akarja, Chairman Moher, distinguished guests, thank you so much for inviting me to be here today. It's wonderful to be back in Peterborough for the second time for such an important event. So much tireless work, often behind the scenes, has gone into preparing for the celebrations this week, and I'm so honoured to be here to experience this with all of you. I know that the Consul General of Ireland, Janice McGann, really enjoyed visiting Peterborough for the launch event last year, and she sends her sincere regrets that she was not available this week. I'm also truly humbled to be joined by so many descendants from the Peter Robinson scheme, some of which who I know travelled from far and wide to be here, so thank you so much for coming here. I look forward to meeting all of you in turn. As well as such a tremendous community celebration, the bicentenary of the arrival of the Peter Robinson emigres is also an opportunity to reflect on the complexities of these stories and to deeper understanding between groups of people. I think it's always important to remember the lasting impact the arrival of our ancestors had on those who are already there, both in this region and beyond. To this end, it's truly an honour to be joined today by Chief Laurie Carr of the Hiawatha First Nation and Chief Taynar Simpson of the Alderville First Nation. I want us to just take a moment to imagine what it would have been like to have been one of the 50,000 people who vied for a place aboard one of those 9 vessels that departed Cork Harbour that fateful summer of 1825. Imagine the tension that must have been felt by every one of those 50,000 people waiting to hear about a decision entirely out of their hands that might change their lives forever. Imagine being one of the 48,000 who were not accepted, many surrounded by hardship, poverty and strife, who dreamt of a better life for them and their families in the new world. Imagine the feeling, that undefinable combination of terror, hope and excitement that must have been felt by every one of the 2,024 men, women and children who were selected. The hope of what awaited them, but also the yawning knowledge of what they were leaving behind. Now imagine walking up the gangway to one of those vessels, many without so much as a change of clothes. Imagine taking your first steps onto the deck, hearing that creak of boards beneath your feet, looking back at the shore and wondering if this is the last time that you would ever see home. Now imagine the voyage across the Atlantic Ocean to North America, a distance which to those people must have felt as far as the moon. Imagine the first sight of land, the relief that the journey was almost over. This was the journey and the feeling experienced by not only by the Peterborough emigres, but by countless numbers across 3 centuries who have made that epic journey across the Atlantic. What unites and what has always united those that have undertaken such a brave act is the hope of a better life. That hope was realised by so many Irish in Canada who have given so much to this great country. To take a handful of many examples, Irish and French workmen worked side by side to build the Parliament complex in the Rideau Canal in Ottawa. Thomas D'Arcy McGee, born 2 centuries ago this year, was one of the founding fathers of Canada, playing a key role in the shaping of Confederation in the early years of the new country. Irish people played key roles in the development of Canadian culture, such as the establishment of the Calgary Stampede and even the design of Canada's beautiful maple leaf flag. Today, Canada is a key partner for Ireland across a range of areas, including business, economics, politics, culture, and education. The Irish government is fully committed to deepening and expanding our extraordinary partnership, and to this end, since 2018, we've tripled our footprint across Canada by opening our consulate in Vancouver in 2018 and our consulate in downtown Toronto in 2022. Our government has also disbursed over $800,000 in funding to Irish community and heritage organisations across Canada through the Emigrant Support Programme in 2024. We know that our people are the bedrock of the enduring relationship between Ireland and Canada. We know that that's why that relationship is so successful and why it's lasted so long. And in particular, the volunteer organisations such as those right here in Peterborough that work so hard to keep this heritage alive. In conclusion, as we remember the journey across the Atlantic for that 2,024 people all those years ago, we can only imagine the relief they felt of finally setting eyes on the flatland, the creek and the low hills, or as long called Nogajivana, and what would become the town of Peterborough. It must have been a bittersweet moment, a feeling of finally reaching a new home. That feeling has been felt in all its complexity by so many Irish that have travelled to Canada over the centuries. It's through keeping these stories and so many others alive that we truly value our ancestors and demonstrate who we are. I want to thank the 9 Ships Committee and all the volunteers involved for their hard work in the lead up to this week. It's an absolutely fantastic programme of events which I know is going to be enjoyed by everyone in the entire area. We know full well that this doesn't just happen. Weeks like these are the results of years of planning and hard work, and it's a huge achievement to everybody involved. Now that the big week has come, please enjoy the festivities and Gurfi Lamagwood.
Thank you, Cahal. There's something a little special here that we received over the last couple of days with the help of Colonel Gary Reamy here. On behalf of, we got a letter from the Office of the Secretary General to the President of Ireland. On behalf of President Higgins, may I thank you most kindly for your recent email regarding the event celebrating the 200th anniversary of 2,000 Irish immigrants sailing to Canada on 9 ships from Cove. The President would like to extend his best wishes to all those attending this event, which celebrates the intertwined histories of the Irish and Canadian people. For generations, Canada has welcomed Irish people into the great patchwork of diversity that constitutes its national character. At perhaps no greater time was this in evidence than during that tragic exodus sparked by the Great Famine. As Irish people were fleeing hunger and desperation in Ireland, Canada kept her ports open to us, reflecting that unique generosity of spirit that we have come to recognize as intrinsically Canadian. President Higgins would like to take this opportunity to express his gratitude to the people of Canada for this generosity, for not only having welcomed Irish immigrants into your country, but for having invited them to become an integral part of Canada, making their own distinct and valuable contributions to their workplaces, their communities, and their society. On behalf of President Higgins, may I convey his warmest regards to all those who are gathering for this important celebration. The President hopes that you all have a most enjoyable and memorable occasion. Yours sincerely, Luke Sweeney, Secretariat in the Office of the Secretary General, to the President of Ireland. This project, 9 Ships, 1825, and all the elements that make it up, is about nationhood. the Canadian nation, the Irish nation, and our First Nations, and the friendship we have forged between us. At that, I would call on Chief Laurie Carr, who was gracious to come today to join us from Hiawatha First Nation. Chief Carr.
Ani, Atikdodam, Ajajakdodam, Megasekwe Laurie Noswin, Michasagi, Anishinaabe, and Dow, Gima, Hiawatha, Pamatishkodian. Good afternoon. My English name is Laurie. My Anishinaabe name is Eagle Woman, and I am chief of our community of Hiawatha First Nation. I'm also from the Deer Clan and relation to the Crane Clan on my mother's side. First, I'm always taught to give thanks, so I do want to say Chimigwech, big thank you to the 9 ships, to the committee, to everyone who worked so hard over these last few years to make today happen. So Miigwech for the invitation, and I've known Mary a while and appreciate you, so Miigwech for all of that. I wasn't sure of a few words I was gonna say. First, I usually do a welcome to our traditional and treaty territory. Our traditional territory expands many, many miles, and our treaty territory, the territory you're in right now, is Treaty 20, signed in 1818. And that was approximately 2 million acres was that treaty that was agreed upon between the First Nations and the government to share the territory. And you know, our shared territory, I was at the Wild Irish Geese play last night, and beautifully done, well done. And to everyone that was in that play, amazing. What I honored most about that was there was truths in that play, the truths of our history, your history and our history as Anishinaabe people, as Michasagi people. And part of that shared history is, you know, we both come from colonialism. We both had stolen lands, stolen rights, and we lived in poverty. Yet what brings us here today is the resilience of both our ancestors. That's why we are here today in this very moment. And I'm honored to be a part of this. My fourth great grandfather, my 2 families on my side, Potash side of my family is my maternal side. My paternal side is the Cowie side. The maternal side of my family were the hereditary chiefs in our community. So it was my 4th great grandfather that would have been there when you arrived to these specific lands and territories. And on my father's side, it was when the Indian Act came in, it was the elected side, with several Cowies being chiefs in our community. So this brings honor to me to know that my 4th great grandfather would have welcomed your ancestors here. It also brings that on my paternal side, my grandmother was a young from Bridgenorth. A family I didn't get to know. She passed away when she was 48 years old. And she was a young and a Gravel from the Bridgenorth area. And so and many of our women, many of our ancestors, hence my light skin, we're Irish. They were Irish and British. And I pay honor to my ancestors on that side also. So today, I just wanted to acknowledge you all here, to welcome you, to give thanks, and I look forward to celebrating your history, your culture, but also a little piece of mine on my Irish side, and a larger piece of mine on my First Nations side, on my Michasagi Nation side. So Miigwech, thank you and welcome.
Thank you very much, Chief Carr. If I may now call upon Chief Taynar Simpson, Alderville First Nation. Chief Taynar Simpson.
Ani and Bojo. Firstly, I'd like to thank everyone for coming out today. I'd like to thank Brendan and the entire board at the Nine Ships who made this event happen. I know that it's been a long time coming. I've been involved for about a year now when it was first kicked off officially for the 1 year countdown. So I know that the work has gone even beyond that. I'd like to thank all the staff and everyone who came out from afar. As you know, Chief Carr was saying that this is a traditional Anishinaabe territory. We know that Indigenous people have been here for tens of thousands of years. Our Mississauga ancestors have been here for at least 10,000 years. So we've seen a lot of people come and go, and over the years, you know, we've welcomed lots of people to our lands. And 200 years ago, we welcomed the ancestors of the Irish population here and the founding of the City of Peterborough. And it's interesting that Peterborough is not named after Peter Robinson, even though it is, and maybe that's something to look into, renaming it Peterborough after Peter Robinson. I don't know. But anyway, I want to just make sure that everyone here understands the history and how all of this happened. Personally, I come from a background of reconciliation. I've worked for the federal government for many years. And what we have here in Canada is something that's not really understood very much. Indigenous history wasn't taught in our schools the way that it should have been. People don't understand why we have First Nations issues, why there's things called Indian land claims, but really they're not our land claims, they're claims that were made by the settlers on our territory. When we made the treaties, we made a treaty to live with people, to invite people into our lands, and to live in harmony. So that's where we are now. In that spirit of reconciliation, it's not something that just happens once, it's something that's always ongoing, and it's how we understand our place here in Canada. So we know that we still have a long way to go, but at the same time, we're getting there. And events like today, where our shared histories are acknowledged, is a big step towards that reconciliation. And I'd like to say that on my mother's side, my maternal grandmother is Irish. I haven't looked too much into it, but you never know, she might have even been descended from people from Nine Ships. So I know I'm going to look into that a little bit more just to see, you know, I think that'd be great if it was. But anyway, I just want to say that we have a really good 10 days planned for coming up, and I'm glad to see everyone here, and just have a great day, everyone, and thank you very much.
Chief Simpson. Chief, I would also like to state that Keith Knott of Curve Lake First Nation sends his regrets. He cannot be here today because of a family commitment that was set a couple of months ago. So he's unable to be here today, but he did send his regrets. At this point, I'd like to call on Donna O'Brien for the Peterborough Canadian Irish Club. Donna, if you could say a few words, please.
Hello. This is a great day to be Irish, especially with the weather we're having today. It's much better than it has been, right? On behalf of the Peterborough Canadian Irish Club, I'd like to congratulate the Nine Ships 1825 for creating this amazing event, honoring our ancestors who sailed into the unknown, praying for a better life. To see the Nine Ships dream become a reality this week is a true testament of what the persistence of Canadian Irish people are made of. That's who we are. And what a committee you are. It's been amazing. I thank you for your dedication to our history and for your hundreds of hours of volunteering. We offer and hope for you on the 11th of August that you have a beautiful, comfortable chair under a large maple tree with a drink of choice and a very fluffy book. I also think that what might be the greatest success of the Nine Ships is how you have engaged our younger generations. They too are finding their roots, and they're understanding the importance of family, of community, and of belonging. Thank you for being a major sponsor of the Peterborough Canadian Irish Club, our 50th anniversary, a grand Irish gathering tomorrow evening. We hope that we can see you all there. And again, thank you, Nine Ships Board.
At this point, I'd like to call on our Member of Parliament, our new Member of Parliament, Emma Harrison. Emma, if you could come up and say a few words.
Hello, thank you so much for having me. It's an honor to be here with the tremendous efforts and work that you've all put in for such a long time. On behalf of the federal government, I bring warm greetings and heartfelt thanks to everyone gathered here. This week we are celebrating a milestone, but we are also celebrating the amazing people who make this week in events possible. Events like this don't come together on their own. They are made possible by the dedication, passion, and generosity of volunteers. You are the heart of this week and the soul of our community. This week's events are a powerful reminder of what we can achieve when we come together. So to every volunteer, organizer, and supporter, thank you. Your efforts do not go unnoticed, and your impact is deeply felt. A small token of our gratitude, I'm honored to present this certificate in recognition of the hard work and heart that went into making this week possible. So, for you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, Emma.
And although I'm not Irish, I'm Scottish. Am I allowed to say that in here? Dave gets it. Thank you so much for having me, truly. And this, in the world we're facing today, is now more important than ever that community come together and we celebrate joy and achievements and the thread that holds us all together, which is our humanity, our shared humanity. So thank you very much for having me, and enjoy this incredible 10 days that you've all achieved. Thank you. Thank you.
Now I'd like to call on our Member of Provincial Parliament, Dave Smith, who is here as well, who won't have any trouble with this podium because he'll be high above it. Welcome, Dave.
Thanks, man.
I'll adjust the mic first. That's one of the differences between the Scots and the Irish. There actually are a few others. So, as Emma mentioned, yes, I am Scottish. I'm of Scottish heritage. And I was asked a few times, why am I not wearing green? And I'm not wearing green because I'm not Irish, I'm Scottish. But there is a great similarity between the Irish and the Scots. And I think that everyone in this room who is of Scottish heritage or Irish heritage will agree with me. We're not English. We have that in common. When we look at, thank you. When we look at Nine Ships and what the impact is of it, so a little over 2,000 people came to this area back 200 years ago. It's about 8 generations, and when you do the math on that, on what that actually means, about 2.6 million people are descendants of those 2,000 who came. And if we further extrapolate that, it's about 235,000 people who are alive today who are descendants of those original 2,000. And when you look at the impact that that has, when we combine the population of Peterborough County and Peterborough City, we're looking at about 170 to 180,000 people. There's about 235,000 descendants who are still alive. So that means that the reach of those families who came here has fingered into so many other areas. And they are touching on the fabric of our society all across this province, this country, and probably in other parts of the world as well. It is a massive impact. Now, we have a very small, different group of people throughout Peterborough County and City combined. And it's interesting at Queen's Park, and I'm sure that my good friend MPP Leal, Mayor Leal, former MPP for the area, he'll attest to this. One of the things that they talk about at Queen's Park is to make sure that you reach out to your ethnic media and bring them on side and make sure that you're sharing your stories with them. So I'm happy to say that the Dummer News does a great deal of reporting for me to the Irish community throughout Peterborough County on this. The reality is that we have a fantastic community here, and it is all about working together as families. And that is something that is the core of what the Irish have always done. It has never been about just your family. It has never been just about your next door neighbor. It has always been about your community. It has always been about building that community and working together, and we have a fantastic community because we have so much influence on those values, on those family values of making sure that what you're doing is good for the community. So thank you so much to the entire team of 9 Ships, because what you're doing for the next 10 days is enhancing this community. You're building us back up, giving that pride back to people, and celebrating our heritage in a very inclusive way, because you're including the Scots.
At this point, I'd like to call on His Worship, the Mayor of the City of Peterborough, Jeff Leal. Jeff.
Ladies and gentlemen, I can tell you my heritage is just south end Peterborough. Good afternoon. Bonjour. A special welcome to Mr. Sweeney, the Vice Consul General of Ireland, chiefs, dignitaries, and Your Excellency. To all those who have traveled to be here today, welcome to the great city of Peterborough. I'm thrilled to be here today as we mark the opening of this period to commemorate the 200th anniversary of the Peter Robinson Irish immigration. So much of the history of Peterborough, both city and county, is the history of the Irish in our region. Our early development, our heritage, were greatly influenced by this immigration, and the Irish Canadian community continues to have a profound impact on the everyday lives of the citizens of Peterborough. None of this would have been possible without Peter Robinson and those 2,024 brave souls who made the journey from Ireland 200 years ago. This coming Monday is a civic holiday, but here in Peterborough, we called it Peter Robinson Day for more than 2 decades. I was extremely honored to second a motion in 2002 to rename that holiday when I was a city councillor. Some 23 years later, my life's journey has led me to honor being a mayor of the city of Peterborough during this wonderful 200th anniversary. It is truly a privilege to be here with all of you today as we commemorate the bicentennial of the Peter Robinson immigration. I want to thank the 9 Ships, 1825, and their very distinguished board, Brendan Moher, Mary Smith, Maureen Crowley, Dennis Carter-Edwards, and Edward Jones. And to all the staff, volunteers and partners who have worked so hard, extremely hard, on this commemoration to make it such a Canadian, Ontario, Peterborough City and County success story. I hope all of you enjoy the many fantastic events that have been organized to mark this great occasion. Thank you, and miigwech.
At this point, I'd like to call on Her Worship, Warden Bonnie Clark of the County of Peterborough.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here today, and especially with our Executive Consul General Sweeney and all the other dignitaries here. So full disclosure before I start out, I am Irish, Scottish, and a little bit of French. So, as I say, it's a pleasure to join you and indeed the whole Peterborough community as we commemorate this 200th anniversary of the arrival of 2024 and of 200th anniversary here of 2024 Irish immigrants to the Peterborough region, guided by Peter Robinson. So I want to offer a special welcome to all of our visitors joining us from Ireland today, and we had a lovely breakfast this morning. Thank you for making the journey, like many of your countrymen did so many years ago. Of course, I doubt that they had complimentary beverages upon their arrival. Today, as we proudly raise the Irish flag, we honor the profound and lasting contribution of Irish settlers and their descendants here in Peterborough County. When you think of 2024 arriving here and the population itself was around 500, that is absolutely just overwhelming. This flag stands as a vibrant symbol of their enduring journey, rich culture, heritage, and their pivotal role in shaping the very fabric of our communities. I'd like to note that Peterborough County has also raised the Irish flag for this celebration. So if you just look up the hill, we always say we're just a little bit higher than the city. Sorry, Mayor Leal. And looking down, you'll see the flag there raised for the celebration over at the county courthouse. This year marks a momentous occasion, the 200th anniversary of the arrival of these 2024 immigrants to our Peterborough region. In 1825, these hopeful women, men, and children embarked on a courageous journey across the Atlantic, seeking new beginnings in what was then Upper Canada. Their arrival aboard 9 ships heralded a new chapter for our region, significantly enriching both our cultural and our economic landscapes. As we celebrate this enduring spirit of community and collaboration, it is equally vital that we acknowledge the complexities of this history. The arrival and settlement of these Irish immigrants, much like other colonial-era migrations, had lasting effects on our Indigenous communities, who have been the stewards of this land for generations. I appreciate that these commemorations are conducted with the utmost respect for all perspectives, particularly those of our local First Nations. To all participants, I encourage you to immerse yourselves in the beauty and the history of Peterborough County during this special time. Throughout 2025, a series of events organized in partnership with 9 Ships, 1825 Inc., and local organizations will mark this bicentennial year. And I'd like to extend a special thank you to the 9 Ships, 1825 organizers for their tireless work in commemorating this significant milestone in our community's history. Their dedication to preserving and sharing our heritage is truly commemorable. And I noted when it was said earlier that the next generation is getting involved. This is what it's all about, is saving and preserving that legacy. So let us use this commemoration as an opportunity to strengthen the bonds of our community, to learn from our shared history, and to build a future where all residents feel a sense of belonging and respect. So I'd like to conclude with an old Irish blessing. May love and laughter light your days and warm your heart and home. May good and faithful friends be yours wherever you may roam. May peace and plenty bless your world with joy that long endures. May all life's passing seasons bring the best to you and yours.
Now, The whole Nine Ships project and the Irish immigrants who came over here, they didn't only settle in Peterborough County and the City of Peterborough, they did also settle in the City of Kawartha Lakes and that whole area. And at that, I would like to call on the Mayor of the City of Kawartha Lakes, Doug Elmslie, if you could say a few words.
I was thinking while I was sitting there, wouldn't it be neat if they could have found one more person? Then it would have been 2025 and 2025. In any event, I didn't know whether to put my hand up when they said those who had traveled to get here, because I'm from next door. And to Jeff Leal's point, I'm from 3rd Street East in Cornwall. Good afternoon and welcome. I'd like to first thank the organizers for their time and dedication to this event. The members of the Nine Ships 1825 group have truly gone above and beyond to help mark this special occasion and to assist the many groups and organizations that are contributing their time to ensure the visitors, both from near and far, have an opportunity to see history and community come together in so many different ways. Brendan, you and your team deserve a lot of kudos for seeing the project come to fruition. It's wonderful to see how much you have inspired the residents here and in Kawartha Lakes and beyond to stop and marvel at how we arrived here 200 years ago. On behalf of the Council and the City of Kawartha Lakes, I would like to welcome everyone who has traveled from near and far to join us as we celebrate the 200 years of Irish Canadian heritage in Peterborough and the Kawarthas. We would like to extend a particularly warm welcome to the Vice Consul General, Sweeney, for being with us today, as well as all the international visitors, and it's an honor to be able to host you in Kawartha Lakes as well. Though many of you have taken quite long trips to be with us here, I think we can all agree the journey these days is not nearly as arduous as it was in 1825. And I was thinking about that a little bit. Imagine somebody coming to you today, or young people today, and saying to them, well, you know, we know you're looking for housing and work and a better future, so we're going to put you on a rocket ship and send you to Mars, and you'll kind of be on your own. How many of us would sign up for it besides Sheldon from The Big Bang Theory? Those who embarked on that expedition were quite courageous to leave the familiar and make a long and fraught trip to create a new life with few supports and a heavy reliance on what I can only presume was gumption and a hard work ethic. It is heartening to know and to see as you travel around the next week that those values still persist in the families and communities that remain in the areas they settled long ago. I invite you all to explore and enjoy all of the activities over the next 10 days. There is a lot to see and do, but I certainly encourage you all to visit the Downeyville Jamboree. It's a small town with a big heart and great hospitality, as well as the Kawartha Settlers Village in Bobcaygeon. Though not exclusively showcasing Irish heritage, it offers a wonderful glimpse into the early settler days in the area. Downeyville and the Omini area are where a lot of the 1825 settlers put down their roots, but we have descendants of the 1825 settlers in various pockets of the city. Take your time exploring, enjoy all of the hospitality of the greater Kawartha region, and do come back and visit. We love sharing our history with our guests. Thank you very much. I'm Miigwech.
I wanted to mention that we are being joined today by Angus Finnan, who is the Cultural Attaché of the Embassy of Ireland. Angus, welcome. Thank you. I'd also like to welcome and bring your attention to the chair of the Canada-Ireland Foundation, Mark Purdy, who is here, and their executive director, William Peet. Thank you so much for coming here. And also a special person that I met when I was over in Ireland in early May for the commemoration ceremonies there, an author who has just launched a new book, From Whence We Came, Christy Roach. Raise your hand, Christy. Thank you for all the research you do. And at that, I would like to call on His Excellency, the Bishop of the Peterborough Diocese, His Excellency Daniel Miehm. Bishop.
Thanks very much, Brendan, and dear friends and honored guests. It really is such a great privilege for me to be here today representing the Catholic community at this official opening of the Nine Ships celebration, this great bicentennial of the Peter Robinson emigration. You know, faith was a big part of the story of those 2,000 Irish settlers. You know, along with their hopes and aspirations, faith was their foundation as they boarded those ships, made that treacherous sea voyage, and as they established themselves here in this region. And a big part of their story and their history was the building of churches. You know, they very much desired to maintain their faith and their religious practice. And so many of the churches in this region trace their origin back to the arrival of those Irish settlers who wanted to maintain those important faith traditions. And so the Catholic community here is absolutely delighted to be an integral part of these Nine Ships celebrations over the coming days. And of course, we join with many people of different traditions and beliefs as we celebrate this great milestone anniversary in our community. And so I do want to take the opportunity to acknowledge and thank the Nine Ships Organizing Committee for preparing such an ambitious program of activities and events over the next week and a half. It really is impressive. I'm very happy today to extend my greetings to you today and the greetings of the diocese, and also my prayers. A bishop should probably pray, and so I do pray for the success of these bicentennial events, for the well-being of all the participants, and of course for good weather in the coming days. Thank you, and God bless.
I'd like to now call on another special person that I met in early May when I was over in Ireland. She is with the Ballyhoura Development Corporation and oversaw the commemoration ceremonies there that took place in early May at the time that the first ships left. I'll call upon Amanda Slattery. Amanda, could you come up, please?
Good afternoon, everyone. Accorda Díshal, it's more an honour dom, Lart live on Shonno, Harcon Fubble Rejun, Valley Dalig, August na Pobble, as our Honig for Sinchor, August as honour dom, a Van Shaw, Lamahagla, on air, more quid don Shaptons Bashulta Shaw. So, distinguished guests, my dear friends, it's my honour to address you here today on behalf of the communities of the Ballyhoura region and the communities where many of your ancestors hailed. It's also an honour to be here with my family from Ireland, and my extended family in Christy Roach and Jerry Murphy, who are supporting in great ways the homecoming in Ireland later this year. It's an honour to be with everyone as part of this very special week, a long time in the making for many of us. So 200 years ago, families from the Ballyhoura region and the Blackwater Valley and beyond, they were ordinary people with extraordinary courage. They set sail across the Atlantic under Peter Robinson. They left behind familiar fields and kin. They were driven by hardship, but they were guided by hope. They arrived here in what would become Peterborough, and they laid the foundations of amazingly vibrant communities, and they still carry so much of the echoes of their Irish roots. So today we gather not only to remember their journey, but to celebrate the enduring bond between our two nations, because it's more than a commemoration, it's a homecoming of our hearts and our histories. So we honour the legacy of those settlers and the generations that followed. We also celebrate the deepening connections that exist now between our communities. And in the Ballyhoura region, as we are preparing to welcome you from across Canada and from across the United States this September, we have a week of events that also will mirror the spirit of our gathering, storytelling, remembrance and our shared heritage. It's not just a chapter in Irish or Canadian history, it is a shared narrative of resilience, of kinship and belonging. And I think ultimately it reminds us that migration is not the end of a story. It is the start and the beginning of a new one. It's written across borders, generations and hearts. So to 9 ships, 1825, to the descendants, to all of those I now call friends, who bring this amazing commemoration to life, we thank you, because your dedication ensures that that legacy of 1825 continues to inspire us in 2025 and beyond. And as a gesture of our friendship and our ongoing connections between our regions, as 9 ships presented to us on May 9th at that wreath laying in Cove, we too, on behalf of the CEO and the board and the communities of North Cork and Limerick, we wish to present this plaque, a very special plaque, to Brendan.
Thank you, Amanda. Isn't
And
that beautiful?
And to the 9 Ships Committee.
And it says, do you want to read it or
Will I read it?
Go ahead.
Well, I'm going to read the little piece here, because
Yes.
it's quite long, and I've spoken long enough, as the Irish tend to do. Ní náirt go córa le chéile, so there is no strength without unity. And it contains the outline of the Ballyhoura Mountains, Ballyhoura as it straddles North Cork and Limerick. And I suppose they left the mountains for the forests of Canada.
Thank you so much, Amanda.
Thank you. And
Very
Gur Vila Magwad. Congratulations.
We'll cherish it always. And on this item, it says also, may this bond of friendship and history continue to inspire us and unite us for generations to come. And that's what was something I was unexpected when I got involved with 9 Ships, 1825. That there was 2 communities on either side of the Atlantic that had in some ways lost touch with each other. And when we were over there was a joining of those communities. And Amanda has now come here to help join those 2 communities that separated 200 years ago. And it's a very special thing. We must remember it. These are our people, and these bonds go deep. So thank you very much, Amanda. Please remember our website, 9ships1825.com, which has all the information on all these events that are going to be taking place over the next 10 days. Please come out to those events and enjoy yourselves. The weather is going to be perfect, and people have gone to a lot of trouble to put them together. So enjoy yourself. This is your time. And at this, I'd like to call upon Nancy Towns and Mike Towns, who are well known in the local Irish community, for a poem they want to present by P.J. Towns. Nancy.
Thank you once again. I'll echo everyone else's sentiment to the 9 Ships Committee for the warm welcome today and for all of the ongoing work you've done. I am the great-granddaughter of P.J. Towns, and this is my father, Mike, who's the grandson of P.J. Towns, and we're honored to be here to share this, an abbreviated version of this poem, and PG would be astounded with how the words that he wrote 100 years ago to honor the centennial of the Peter Robinson emigration to Douro, how they resonate today with people. And we're humbled to be able to share it with you. And PG was the grandson of Johanna Selman, who was 12 years old when she emigrated on the Regulus. And she was one of 10 children of Darby and Alice Sullivan. And I'm sure there are many descendants of that couple here today. PG was close with his grandmother Johanna, poem is, it shows, it's but one example of the importance of oral history and stories shared through writings and through storytelling that still exist today and are shown in our heritage and culture, and also the sense of place that we have here for many of us, looking to the home country, the old country, whichever country that may be. And in the case of this poem, it's a sense of home that's found both in Ireland and here, even though PG never set his foot on Irish soil, but he had that sense of place from the stories that Johanna shared with him.
I'm going to start off the poem. In the month of May, on a sunny day, from the lovely Cove of Cork, with vessels 9 upon the brine, 2,000 souls embark. From Erin's shore they climbed aboard, leaving friends and family. For alone they stand in a foreign land in Canada or the sea.
In the morning light, the sun rose bright, all traces of land concealed. No ships or barks from the Cove of Cork across the sea revealed. Then friends bewail as the ships still sail for Canada's lonely shore. As sunshine rose, their sorrow grows, for friends they will see no more. They now arrive in 25, Peter Robinson in command. At Scots Plains drear, that lonely year, they settled on the land. In Durrow wild, our axes plied in many a forest nave, to clear the round where echoes sound the labors of the brave. On the records of time, men and women sublime have written their challenge to fate. This year, can't you feel it, in community spirit, their efforts we commemorate. Old girls, you hear, old boys, give ear. Come home, don't you ever say no, but meet on the sod where your forefathers trod 200 years ago. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, that will bring our proceedings here at the Armouries to a conclusion. We're going to now proceed over to City Hall, Peterborough City Hall, and John will lead us at the Piper.